These are nice mics.
Those are oh, these right here.
Yeah.
Those are Yetis. Yeah, they're cool as hell.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the top of the line USB microphones.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So, okay, let's do. I know everybody can hear me out there in YouTube land, but as you know, on Ear to the Ground 197, we use a different format. So you don't get the same sound that we get on Facebook Live. And so here we go. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Ear to the Ground one afternoon. Well, good afternoon. We're a little late this morning. As we say, all power to the people. Like I said, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time it is, everybody. My name is Bryan Foley, host of Ear to the Ground 197. A little slow this morning. I was out last night at the Johnny Lawrence Summer Jazz Concert Series, and it rained on us last night and everything. So I was out in the rain all the time. So you know how us old folks is, our joints is a little slow and stuff like that. And so I'm going to be getting it together in just a little while. Anyway, who I have in the studio this afternoon is 5th District Washtenaw County Commissioner Justin D. Hodge. And he's in this morning to share with us about his new position and what's going on. But we would like everybody to do first, as we always do, is type Y1 into the comment box. We would like for you to hit share and hit like. We would like for you to type Y1 into the comment box, share and like. And you know why I asked him to do that? Number one is because I believe in Ypsilanti first. And when I say Ypsilanti, I'm talking about the Ypsilanti community, Ypsilanti area. Even though my focus is on the south side of Ypsilanti, in the city of Ypsilanti, we understand we're a much bigger community together. Mm-hmm. So we ask for that you put Y1 in there because I believe in Ypsilanti first, like, and then share. The like and the share, what it does, it stimulates the algorithm so that people can see this because of this platform that I'm using. But anyway, how you doing this morning, Brother Commissioner?
I'm doing well. I love the theme song.
Oh, yeah.
I love hearing it.
Yeah, you know, that is by Alicia Reynolds, who is the daughter of the world famous LJ Reynolds of the Dramatics. And she's got some music coming out right now. She's got about 4 finished songs and they hot.
Okay.
I mean, they really hot, you know. I've listened to them a few times and they're radio ready right now. But thank you. I'll make sure I'll pass that on to Miss Reynolds. I'll probably see her later this afternoon and doing some work, you know. So what's going on in the 5th? Well, you know what? Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
All right. Washtenaw County Commissioner. and we've asked this question before, but what is a county commissioner? What's the responsibilities of a county commissioner?
It's a great question. So county
Mhm.
commissioners are responsible for approving the county budget. We're the policy body for the county, and then we do constituent service work, which I think is our most important role. So if there's a constituent that needs help in engaging a county service or just getting in contact with anybody in the county, it's our job to be able to help with that.
Okay, all right. And then with the 5th district, what area does that cover?
Yep. So I represent most of Ypsilanti Township, everything south of 94. So you can think of neighborhoods like Sugarbrook, West Willow, Galt Village, and then all the way south. And then I also represent all of Augusta Township.
Oh, okay. All right. That's great to know. A lot of us don't know that. Hey, what's going on? I thought somebody was commenting, and anyway.
Well, we'll get some comments eventually.
Yeah, we're gonna see. I'm sure we'll get some comments. That's what. Hey, first of all, let me start this right here. And I got to do this. As an individual, right, I have the right to endorse and support any candidate or any proposition or any ordinance that I so choose. But I've made a conscious decision, myself and the president of Supreme Felons Incorporated, is that publicly, we're not going to publicly speak out and endorse or support any candidates, right? And the reason why we do that, good afternoon, Sister Cheryl, and the reason why we're choosing to do that is because we are a 501c3 organization. And because he and I are the actual faces of the organization, we don't want to be in violation of our nonprofit status. Mm-hmm. So from this point forward, persons, and they know who they are, right, who I endorse and I support, right, I still endorse and support them. However, I won't do it on an individual public basis because sometimes people have a hard time differentiating between the individual and the organization. Yeah. And I don't want anybody to try and use my position and my membership as Supreme Felon Incorporated, same as Billy, to give the appearance that Supreme Felons Incorporated endorses or supports a particular candidate. Because some people obviously don't have the, and we don't want to do that because this is a real funny political climate that we're in today. It is. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And so what I choose to do is, thank you, good brother. That's Alex Thomas. He said, thank you both for good work. Hey, Alex. Okay. All right. And so what I just choose to do is that this is a public announcement statement given from Bryan Foley. It's just to be quiet in the backgrounds when I'm publicly speaking on those that I endorse and the bills, what I'm trying to say, any propositions or stuff like that, we just gonna lay in the cut. You get what I mean? Because we don't want nobody to misconstrue the message of Supreme Felons Incorporated to think that the organization supports or endorses any or is in opposition to anybody. Right. Yeah. So I just want y'all to write that down. You get what I'm saying? What have you? But that being said, as a disclaimer, I have to say this. The Supreme Felons Incorporated was recently awarded a grant of $1.2 million. And I want to thank you personally and the Board of Commissioners chairperson, Sue Shink, for spearheading to make sure that the monies for the ARPA fund, not for the group, because I've been hearing so much, this is my show. I've been hearing so much bullshit and lies about how this process went down. Yeah. You get what I mean? I know how it went down. I had the same information that everybody else did, right? But so much bullshit and lies. I said it again. But I got to thank you and Sue Shink for spearheading to say that, hey, we've got to get the monies into grassroots organizations that are capable and able and have proven to do the work of interrupting violence so that we don't have any more homicides in this community anymore. You recognize the importance, and with the expediency, you gathered the Board of Commissioners together and you made the right decision for the community so we can help to bring an end to this epidemic of community violence that we have in place. So I got to say personally, thank you. Well,
it was the right thing to do. And I appreciate the work that you do and the work that Supreme Felons does. It's like I said at the Board of Commissioners meeting, it's not often that we're able to allocate money to something and we know it's going to save lives. I know the work that you do saves lives.
Right. And so, we know that it saves lives. You get what I mean? Because we're out there, you know, and a lot of things that we do, people aren't aware of the things that we do because everything isn't for social media or for the public media's eye to understand what's going on right here, because you don't put people's personal business out there about how you had to intervene in family situations and in gang activity. And when you have active threats against people's lives, where we put ourselves in between the gunman and the victim on numerous occasions, that's not anybody's business. And those are the things that we do, you know, and I take that personally when people misconstrue information that can actually hinder the work and actually cause another life to be lost or bodily harm to be injured because of misinformation. You know, and I take that very seriously.
Well, I want to spend some time talking about that too, because the lies and the misinformation is dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Thank you. It puts you in the organization in harm's way. And we got to be really clear about the work that you're doing, who was involved in the work. And so it's clear that the community can trust the work that Supreme Felons does.
Yeah. So thank you. So I think we cleared the street, swept the street and got it cleared so we can get on while you actually here. So I printed this out, right? But the Washtenaw County Criminal Justice Collaborative Council, right?
It's a long name.
It's a long name, so that's why I printed it out, right? And it says the purpose of this is the purpose of the Washtenaw County CJCC is to maximize efficiency, effectiveness, fairness, and cooperative efforts of criminal justice agencies by developing plans, programs, and positions on concerns which have multidisciplinary criminal justice system application, have a positive impact on crime, are innovative, or are intergovernmental in scope. Now I said a whole bunch of legal jargon, man. Break that down in colloquial English for a brother on the street to understand what the hell is that, man?
So basically what this is supposed to be is a way for all the people that are involved in the criminal legal system, so judges, the prosecutor's office, the sheriff's office, board of commissioners, anybody that has a policy-making role in the criminal legal system, to have a place to get together to figure out how do we move forward in achieving the outcomes that we want. How do we align our policy to make sure that we're getting into that, doing that, working effectively together? Okay.
So you were recently appointed as the chair of this joint collaboration, and you were unanimously chosen by the County Board of Commissions, right? So let's back up a little bit. What qualifies you to be the chair of this organization right now? You know, a little bit about this, a little background.
Yeah, so a little background on the CJCC. It was a body that the Board of Commissioners used several years ago before I was on the board to try to tackle some problems. I think they achieved what they were looking to do with it, so then they sunset it. We brought it back recently. We brought it back last year, actually. And we had a couple of meetings back then to figure out how do we get everybody together and then figure out what can we do to get the outcomes that we want. Back then, we were able to meet virtually because of the pandemic. But then when we got into this year, because of the Open Meetings Act, we aren't allowed to, any meeting that's subject to Open Meetings Act, we can't be online anymore. So that created some challenges with us doing the work of the CJCC. We have 3 commissioners that are on the CJCC. So it's me, Sue Shink, and Jason Morgan. Sue Shink and Jason Morgan are running for state legislative offices, so they won't be on the Board of Commissioners next year. I hopefully will continue to be on there. And I've been involved with a lot of the other criminal legal work at the county level, so it was a natural fit for me to be chair. And I told the other commissioners that I wanted to do it because we needed some more leadership on there to start moving it forward. Because I know there's a ton of interest in the community in seeing the CJCC work.
Yeah, I was looking at, let's see, the members of the CJCC include 20 elected and appointed leaders in criminal justice, as well as 4 appointed members from the community.
Yes.
I don't know if that's the information that you can share as who are the individuals are, but have those 4 individuals already been selected?
Yeah, because we did have some meetings last year. So I'm hopeful that everybody that was appointed last year would continue to stay on the CJCC.
Okay, I got you.
And our next meeting is in a couple of weeks. That's in July.
Okay, all right. So with those community members, obviously is community involved. You get what I'm saying? You've had the 2 most recent, very unfortunate homicides that occurred in our county occurred in your district.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. One of them right down the street from my house because I live in Sugarbrooke.
Exactly, right. And like I said, I was on the phone with a lady friend at the time when that was active. You get what I mean? I'm on the phone with her. I happened to be doing some work at the time over on Oswego.
Okay.
Onondaga. I'm sorry, I was on Onondaga. And I actually heard the gunshots, and then I heard the police. And then I got a phone call from one of our members asking us to go check on a family member of his who was very close by, what's going on. And so I was actually there. And that's why I said all of them are personal to me. Let's make this plain, because there hasn't been one homicide that has occurred in the Washtenaw County in the last few years that some kind of way I did not know the family, even the individual, or had some type of association with them. But these last two, they were very, very, very personal to me because of the physical proximity, if you will, the real timeness. You get what I mean? I didn't wake up the next morning and hear these. You get what I mean? Another one that was very personal to me was the one when Arshawn was killed.
Yeah.
On Michigan Avenue and Ainsworth, because I live on Ainsworth, and both me and my sister, we heard the shots when that occurred. So these right here have been very personal to me, as you get what I'm saying. And so working with the community members, is there any information that you can share? How can the community, the people, help to end this cycle of violence that we got going on?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the CJCC as a public body, our meetings are open to the public. We'll have time when we take comments from the public too. So in addition to the community members that are appointed to it. So this is a great way for people to get involved and to share concerns and share things that you're seeing out in the community. I mean, there are other things too that we can do. One thing that we know about shootings in Washtenaw County is that about 85% of them are retaliatory.
Exactly.
And that's a lot of where the work Supreme Felons does, because if we know it's mostly retaliatory shootings, we can in some ways predict it, and then we can intervene. So being able to support organizations like yours and other forms of violence interruption work. We talked a little bit about the We Live program that the county is going to be, with the sheriff's office is going to be moving forward, and hopefully that the county board of commissioners will also support. So being aware of those kinds of programs and supporting it. We also know that a lot of the shootings that take place are kids shooting at each other, acquiring guns out of unlocked cars. So there's a lot of challenges with that, because you can't make people, put their gun away. But if you, can encourage other people that if you have a firearm, take it in your house and put it away, because we don't want kids getting into unlocked cars and getting guns. Yeah.
You were speaking out of an organization, We Live, which is built upon the model of D Live. Yeah, and I'm familiar with it, but for my viewers, right, out there, can you explain a little bit more to them what is the We Live, what's the D Live program, just for the information?
Yeah, so the D Live program is done in Detroit. It's an acronym, stands for Detroit Lives Matter Every Day. We are modeling our We Live program on that, so Washtenaw Lives Matter Every Day. And basically the program looks like if there's a situation where someone gets shot and they're taken to the hospital, someone from We Live is able to engage people. And we know this is a really golden period of time where you can have a conversation with someone and then kind of be able to pull them out of that. And many times we can hire people to then also work with us and then be able to get other people out of that life too.
Yeah. We've been involved with at least 2 shootings where we've met persons at the hospital, members of our organization. And out of those 2 that I can speak of where the took place, those 2, there was no retaliation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was squashed. It was done, over with, said and done. The 2 that I can speak of. However, there's been other incidents that I can speak of where we were actually able to come in between the individuals and squash beefs and what have you. And I say that is because when the Ann Arbor News wrote an article with me speaking at the board of commissioners, and I didn't like how they wrote that, but those were my words and they didn't take them out of context whatsoever. But when we said that we are working with the sheriff's department and have a relationship with the prosecutor's office, that's very true. But however, we do not exchange information between the 2.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
The police agencies as well as the prosecutor's office do not tell us anything that's going on in the streets whatsoever, and neither do we tell them anything that's going on in the street. You get what I'm saying? We don't have those kind of dialogues. However, we are able to see what's going on in the streets and be out there and being effective, because we actually have, quote unquote, our ear to the ground. What's going on. But like you say, with the We Live movement in particular, And the Washtenaw Sheriff's Department has a community outreach team, you get what I mean, with people who are in the system to help them navigate the system. We're there sometimes to advocate for them in the courtroom. We're able to help them navigate to find housing, clothing, food, resources, even jobs. You get what I mean? So that's the area that we work within the relationships with the sheriff department and the police departments. And like what you're describing with the We Live that we have going on.
Yeah, to be really clear, We Live and the other programs that you mentioned are separate from Supreme Felons.
Exactly.
For Supreme Felons is its own nonprofit organization.
Exactly, completely separate. Yeah. And I have to make that clear, you know what I'm saying? Because people like to create a false narrative and to make it an appearance that there's some type of control or going on, and that's not fair. And in fact, it's like you just said earlier, it's outright dangerous to do that. You get what I'm saying? It's irresponsible and dangerous to create that false narrative out there.
The other piece of it too, the $1.2 million allocation, I don't want to take away from the great work that community members did. The way that we've done this community priority fund process is the 4 commissioners that represent a part of the 48197, 48198 zip codes. We appointed a community member from our district to review the applications, score them, and then make the recommendations to the county administrator and then to the board of commissioners. Commissioners were not involved in that. The sheriff was not involved with that. Other people were not involved in it. This was a community-driven approach that we did.
Yes, and it was clearly explained. You know, I mean, it really was. It was done prior to, and we read the guidelines very clearly, and they're very self-explanatory on what the process was. You get what I'm saying? So we were just very grateful that our organization was entrusted with the community's funds. It's not our money. You get what I mean? It's not our money, you know, to do whatsoever. We were entrusted with the money to make sure that we were best able to do our work. To interrupt the violence that's what's going on. And you know what's funny is $1.2 million, that ain't no money. You get what I'm saying? When you really look at the long run for a 3-year grant for the work that was done and how we itemized what we were doing, $1.2 million is not a lot of money whatsoever. However, if $1.2 million can be put into the hands of one organization, and if $1.2 million saves one life, then that $1.2 million was well spent.
Absolutely.
You get what I mean? Yep. So when we start talking about that cliche, Black Lives Matter, if Black lives really matter, then $1.2 million to save one life whatsoever is nothing. Because what we're going to start placing a value on human life, to say that $1.2 million to one organization is too much. We're actually placing that type of value on a life, you know, so the Black lives really matter. You get what I mean? So anyway, what else you got to share with us at the table this morning? I know you got a lot of things that you want to bring to the viewers of Ear to the Ground 197. And like I said, I want to talk with you more on this Washtenaw County Criminal Justice Collaboration Council, and a little bit more on that and on violence. Okay. Right.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I want to continue talking about that too, because I'm really excited to be able to reactivate the CJCC. People that have listened to our Board of Commissioners meetings will hear people frequently calling in saying, when you guys are going to meet again? Right. We're going to be meeting again. We're going to be meeting regularly. My vision for what we're going to be doing going forward is using the CJCC as a platform to really get everybody to the table so we can have some of these difficult conversations about what changes do we all need to make to be able to improve the criminal legal system and improve the life outcomes for people in our county.
Yeah. If we can back up a little bit, we know that this violence doesn't exist in a vacuum. There's actually a causation for that, you know, and we can get into systemic racism and capitalism, which breeds systemic racism and what have you. And then we have a lack of resources. We obviously got our school systems look like crap. And if anybody else tried to say different, then obviously you haven't been up in there. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's no insult whatsoever to the educators or the teachers. But however, when you have a lack of resources, lack of funding, and a majority of your, not a majority, but a great number of your people have vacated from out of the community for greener pastures, creating a huge disparity in taxes to fund the schools, and people just not interested in coming here. You know what I mean? It's hard to keep police officers employed. You know what I'm saying? Because of the high response rate, if you do, and the lack of funding to do that. And it's hard to keep people employed. Would this council be able to do anything to address those issues that I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. And part of this too gets to the violence interruption piece as well, because when we want to draw in businesses and combat our affordable housing crisis. A lot of that has to do with reducing crime and saving people's lives. So the violence interruption work is going to do a number of additional things. I mean, of course, it's going to save people's lives, which is the ultimate thing that we're focused on here.
Right.
But it's also going to help our school system. It's going to help create opportunities for our kids. It's going to help more businesses want to locate in areas where that's been underinvested in. I frequently talk about and think about the Galt Village Shopping Center, for example,
right,
and how I want us to be able to, at some point, hopefully the county can acquire it, or we can get another partner that'll do something with it, turn it into a grocery store, get housing there. There's a ton of opportunity there. So yeah, this will be part of it. I mean, it's not, like you said, it's not a vacuum. The criminal legal system challenges, violence interruption, economic development, affordable housing, these are all intertwined issues.
Right. And we all, like I said, they're all systemic.
Yep.
You get what I mean?
Yep.
What have you. I'm glad that you brought up the Galt Village area right out there. Has there been any dialogue, any talk about developer coming in to develop it, or is there any talk on the table about the county, like you say, acquiring it to do anything? Is there any type of discussion?
I talk about it all the time. Every
Take
chance
your
I
time,
get.
man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, there is a developer that purchased it some time ago, and then they've had, I think, a challenging relationship with the Ypsilanti Township government. I think this developer that's purchased it purchases shopping centers like that around the country, develops some. This one hasn't been developed. I ended up reaching out to them about what can we do here to try to move some things forward. So some of those conversations are ongoing with them, but also the county and the township are looking into different ways too to get some movement on that. So it's not owned by the county, it's not owned by the township. There is a developer that owns it. They just haven't done anything with it yet.
Okay. Does the county and the township have the authority or power, or is it their responsibility that they do something so it doesn't be such an eyesore,
Yeah, so that's part of the challenge, is that since this private developer owns it, and then there have been times where the developer has been delinquent on paying the taxes, and then we go through where like a foreclosure process starts, but then pays the taxes. So then it takes us back. So when we're looking at other options for what can we do to be able to get either the developer to come to the table and develop it, or acquire the property somehow.
Yeah. Speaking of developers, the American Center for Mobility.
Yes.
Okay. Right. And there was a lot of construction that took place out there in that Willow Run area corridor of US 12.
Yeah.
And when it was first pitched, it was pitched that that US 12 interchange, I-94 interchange to E-Course Road 1794 to 12 was initially done for the safety, pedestrian safety, in particular, pedestrians walking from the West Willow neighborhood going into Ypsilanti Township up on E-Course Road.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yep.
And for vehicle safety. And when I first seen that, I said, that's a whole lot of development and a whole lot of money spent just not putting the value on lives. But when you look at the way that the roundabouts were put in there and all about that, money could have been saved a little bit more if the true concern was only for pedestrian vehicle safety. But as you follow and connect the dots farther on, that corridors actually created more for the American Center of Mobility and the Willow Run Airport.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because you can go out E-Course right now, and you can see construction taking place, which I know at least 20 years ago, that the Willow Run Airport runway was being increased in size so that larger and more frequent landings of planes could be coming in there, because Amazon was setting up their warehouses out there. You see the huge warehouses already out, I believe it's further down E-Course Road, I think. And now we have another one coming up on Denton Road and Michigan Avenue in Canton.
Yeah.
Those places are very close in proximity to your district.
Yep.
I say that all to say is because the development that has been taking place in this county, we have a Toyota plant, Hyundai plant that's coming up. And there's so much development that is going on, which breeds gentrification. But our local elected officials have done a piss poor job of not just informing the community of these developments that are taking place, but preparing our young people to be prepared to get and have jobs and occupations on all levels to work in these places.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So now we see a lot of people moving into our community, quote unquote, gentrification, if you want to call it, and moving in to work in areas, to work in places that we didn't even know were going to be built or under construction or the purpose. So I go all the way back to say is that there's a lot of communication between elected officials and developers, but no communication between elected officials and the community about exactly about these developments taking place. Yeah. So if you could explain that process, or as a current county commissioner and a future county commissioner, what would you do to make the community not simply more informed and inform them, but to make sure that those monies are allocated and not just going to the developers' pockets?
Right.
You get what I mean?
Yep.
But actually developing education and bettering our communities for the people who are indigenous to that. Now, let me just say this, we keep that in place.
Okay.
I've been up all night with the Johnny Lawrence Jazz Concert Series. I'm a little, you know what I mean, tongue-tied, little foggy still in the head. You didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Go ahead, brother.
No, I get what you said here. So
Yeah.
I'll talk about the road development piece first, because I know a lot of people have had,
Mhm.
I've heard from a lot of constituents about not liking the roundabouts that were developed, like the changes that were done over there. That's an MDOT state level issue.
Right.
So I didn't have like any special knowledge as an elected official that the general public didn't have, because all that stuff was done at the state. So like when they had listening sessions and all that, like I had to get the information the same way as anybody else. What I could talk about is with the development piece, because something that's a serious problem for us, particularly in the eastern part of the county, is when the auto industry disappeared out here.
Right.
Those people's jobs. And thinking about how do we be future focused and what development is going to look like and what industries are going to look like. You brought up the American Center for Mobility. So I got a good story on this one. So shortly after I took office, I reached out to ACM about what can we do to be good partners, because they're a world-class autonomous vehicle testing site.
Yes.
They're going to bring in a lot of jobs. They do work. I've toured them. They have people come from across the country and around the world to that site. So they're going to be a big draw for business. So we started thinking of, I wanted to talk with them about what can we do to make sure that our people here are getting jobs, and that it's not, like you said, a bunch of people moving in to then work there. So I've had conversations with them. I've had conversations with Aerotropolis, which is like a quasi-government agency that works with areas near airports. Like we have the Willow Run Airport to draw in business. It's resulted in a couple of different partnerships that we've worked on. One of them, and if anybody wants to learn more about this, you can Google my name and drones. So like search Justin Hodge and drones. There's an MLive article about it. So we were talking to ACM about what can we do, what's like a good civic partnership. And they asked me about what's the issue I see in the area around ACM that I would like their support in solving, knowing that they specialize in autonomous vehicles. And then we have Aerotropolis as a partner who specializes in air related things. And I said food insecurity, because food insecurity is one of my top issues that I want us to do something about, particularly because we think about the Galt Village Shopping Center that used to have a grocery store there back when it was a functional shopping center. A&P and Farmer Jack. But then when you think about now with that gone, the neighborhoods like around West Willow, Sugarbrook, Galt Village, the closest grocery store is Kroger that you have to drive to. It'll take you like 10, 15 minutes if you have a car. We get through the pandemic when there were reduced bus routes. I mean, it made it really hard for people to get food. So I've been really focused on what can we do to make sure people have access to healthy foods. So I thought, is there a way that we could work with ACM and Aerotropolis and other partners to develop some sort of way to use drones or other autonomous robots to get people food? So what this resulted in is we got a number of partners together. Airspace Link, they develop flying drones. KiwiBot, they develop ground drones. We got Food Gatherers, U of M Poverty Solutions. We're not missing any other partners. Aerotropolis, ACM, us at the county, and we got together to talk about let's develop this proposal to the National Science Foundation. So we submitted a grant proposal to develop a project where we would get these air and ground drones that'll work together to deliver food from like farmers markets, or grocery stores to community centers, to churches, or directly to people. And so we submitted the grant proposal for that. We're going to hear by October if we get that $50,000 planning grant. If we get that, we'll start doing the planning for the full phase to actually get the robots out there, where we would then be able to get a $1 million grant.
Now I got to stop you right there, good brother. Now, I kind of know I'm old enough to be your dad, right? Now you talking about some George Jetson, Elroy Jetson shit right now. You know what I mean? So so drones. I was trying to figure out where you was going with that, and all I could see was. So what you're saying is, you got these drones that'll go to the warehouse, grocery store, whatever, go up in the air and come up and deliver them to my front door.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Particularly in food insecure areas. Yep.
Okay.
Or, and this is going to be the key thing that we have to work out. How do we get we call it the handshake? Like, how do we get the ground or the air drone to like take the food and then get it from the air or to the ground? Because it might be, maybe you're in a place where it makes sense for a ground robot to get the food to you. So then, but it has to be delivered by air. If the air robot then gets the food to the ground one, and it gets to you. So that's going to be one of the challenges we have to figure out working with all of our partners if we get this first round grant.
See, this is why I'm advocating. This is why I'm an advocate that it's time for persons of my age demographic, right? I'm 62 years old. It's time for persons my age to sit their old asses down. I ain't got no problem telling them straight them down. I'm talking to myself. You know, people affectionately call me the mayor. You know, okay. I've been touted many times, not just to run for a first ward representative, but also run for mayor, right? But it comes a time where you have to have enough common sense to sit your ass down and move out the way and let our youth come in and lead. That's the responsibility of being an elder in the community, is to train up a second so that they can lead, not to die with the crown on your head or take the torch to the grave with you, but to pass it on to the youth, right? What you just described was very innovative, futuristic, if you will. Like I said, I was joking when but for real. But you were talking some George Jetson stuff that I used to watch as a kid. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And now here you're talking about bringing my childhood experiences through the television screen to reality, because that's exactly what was talking about. And so this is why we need youngsters such as yourself, brother says, can drone pilots as myself apply to be involved in your project. That was Bryan Jones. It's a brother who does the camera for the Johnny Lawrence Jazz Concert series, right? He has a drone, you get what I mean? So he's one that can you hire him to bring the drone? Bryan, we got to talk anyway. We got some business we got to take on. But anyway, so no. What I'm saying is that what you just shared with me is why I am so much encouraging and supportive of our younger people. And that's not insultive. It's simply because I can say this being 62 years of age. You're younger than me, right? And that's why I encourage and admire and stand by and support our youth, because now it's your time to lead and to guide. And it's time for us as elders to give suggestions, be able to answer questions based upon our life experiences, and not to continue to live as a 30-year, 20-year politician and not having done a damn thing to show for the constituency that you actually represent. Somebody says forward thinking. Somebody named Talaji. How you
Tajali.
Okay, you say forward thinking. She's correct. Forward thinking.
Yeah,
you get what I mean. And it's time for us to, FDR. The reason why they had that amendment, the only reason why presidents can run for 2 terms is because you get into a dictatorship. And that's what we've been having around here, dictatorship. Same people been in office for the last 20 years. You get what I'm saying? But we have to pass the torch. We have to, a relay race is exactly what it is. There's 4 legs in a relay race. You pass the baton to this one, to the next one, to the next one, and the objective is to win the race. It's not your objective to hold on to that baton and run all 4 legs of the race. That's total self-centeredness and is very dangerous to our community. There comes a time where understanding that it's just our time to turn over the mantle to the youth. And you really inspired me when you just said that, because as it was said, that's innovative and forward thinking.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, and also thinking about the economic development piece, because when we think about how do we get more jobs here, someone's got to build the drones.
Right.
So where we have to, if that's going to be the direction that we're going to be moving into in terms of industry. Like what industry is going to take over where the auto industry pulled out?
Right.
A lot of it's going to be autonomous vehicles.
Exactly.
So we need to have training programs for the kids that are coming up now and other people that need jobs.
Right.
That if this is what we're going to be doing, this is going to be the big thing. Let's make that something we're doing in Ypsilanti.
Exactly. That's why I've reached out last night. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, the business agent and assistant business agent met me yesterday, and I have been in talks with the local trade unions.
Oh, good. Yep.
Right. Every trade union that I've spoken with has agreed to assist us in our what we call the Supreme Builders Preparatory Academy, so that I think we should expand transit system, put mom and pop stores back in the community. I agree with you, Michelle. 100%.
I agree too.
You agree too. So we've reached out because as these buildings and infrastructure are being built, it doesn't make any difference. Well, let me try to phrase this properly. We need people with college educations, right? But somebody has to build the buildings.
Right.
Somebody has to maintain the buildings. And those are skilled trade positions that our community members should be building and maintaining those buildings.
Yep.
So what I have done is I reached out to the local trade unions, and all of them have agreed to support our pre-apprenticeship program to get our young men and women, those who have an interest into the building trades. And what they're supporting us on is we're doing the simple stuff at the most basic level. Teaching what a screwdriver is. Mm-hmm. What is a hammer? What's a saw? What's a reciprocating saw? What is a circular saw? What's the proper name of this wrench? People have been calling an adjustable wrench for their entire life. Been calling a crescent wrench their entire lives, but it's actually called an adjustable wrench. What are those little bitty lines on the tape measure on the ruler? How do you do fractions in mathematics so that you can measure and cut properly? What's the proper pitch of a roof? All of these things have a science behind them. Yeah. And this is why a lot of times our people are hired in these jobs because they don't have the basic skills. They have the physical ability and some of the know-how, but there's a lot of understanding and education that's required very simply just to cut a piece of wood. Yeah. You get what I mean? So what we have done is Supreme Felons is we have engaged with the local unions, and right now with Washtenaw Community College is getting our young men and women pre-prepared for those who want to get into the apprenticeship program, and the unions have agreed to assist us in this process.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's why I say it takes the young and the old, if you will, to come together and work together for that innovative thought. Like we just talked about those drones and stuff like that. Somebody has to build them. Somebody has to operate them. Yeah. If somebody has to do that, why not us?
Exactly. Yep.
Why not the people in 48197, 48198, when you have a center out there for autonomous vehicles? Yep. As simple as it may sound, somebody has to change the tires.
Yep, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody has to change the oil. Somebody has to, these are the most basic ground level roads. Somebody has to patch the asphalt. Somebody has to help build that stuff. Why not us? Right. Somebody has to even cut the grass out there. Grass don't cut it damn self. But what I'm saying is as basic as this may sound, then how come our people don't have first dibs on those jobs? Right. That don't even require a high amount of skill and education? And that's what I'm advocating on, be reaching out to the youth, those who are in government and hopefully be leading tomorrow, that Ypsilanti first. Yeah. Why are other people moving in our communities, taking the occupations and the jobs that we should be doing on the most basic level, if you will? I shouldn't see people from other places doing the work that we should be doing and could be doing based upon the misinformation of non-communication. You understand what I'm saying? The developers had to contact some elected official to pitch this. Yeah. You get what I mean? That this is what we want to do. And that elected officials should have consciousness to understand that somebody has to do the work. And then they should have came down to the community level and say, hey, dig this here. They getting ready to build some stuff out here, but I'm ready to prepare it so y'all can get to work.
Right.
Instead of just receiving the money for the developers and only doing the work together. Michelle says, bring ROTC back to the school and get those jobs to the graduate. You 100% correct, sister. And that's what we're doing is we're creating an RCTC type of curriculum that we compare our people. I'm doing a lot of talk, brother, but
no, it's all good stuff. I mean, it's like you're saying, businesses are driven to make a profit. It's great when a business wants to do things for the social good and to support a community, but that is really the responsibility of the elected officials, because we're the people's representative and we should be working with the community. So that's what it comes, like you said, if an elected official knows that there's going to be some sort of development or a business opportunity, the focus should be, how do we make sure that the people local have that opportunity? Otherwise, like you said, people are going to come from outside the community, and then we're still going to have some of the same economic and jobs related issues because our people aren't getting those jobs.
Exactly. Gail Summerhill asked the question up there. She says, how do we build trust? I'm going to answer that question. How do we build trust? We put people in the office that we can trust. And how we do that? Based upon the experience that we already have. Okay. My friend Ryan Griffin says, show me the receipts. Show me the receipts or the merchandise or the tangible objects of your tenure in office.
Yeah.
That's how we build trust. We can't trust you if you ain't never done nothing, asked to be elected again for another term. That's insanity. Insanity is repeating the same thing again and expecting different results. So we keep re-electing these same people all and over again, and we never get a damn thing.
Yeah. I agree. I got the receipts on things that I've done. So, that's why I'm running for re-election.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So the question was asked about the building program. That building program is in the making right now, and I will be sending out a lot of information with that. I've seen you out there, Sheila, out there asking those questions. Joy X Taylor, the same thing too. I will be getting that information to you as a community as I sign all the necessary things to get it done.
One of the things I'm really excited about that trade program that you're developing here is it would work really nicely with the Children's Savings Accounts program that I supported and we got as part of that first Washtenaw Rescue Plan package. I talk about it a lot, but I'll go ahead and say it again. We're at this place now where this coming school year, we're going to start enrolling all kids in Washtenaw County public schools in a savings account that they can use for college, trade school, or other post-secondary education. And then with equity at the core, because I really wanted us to make sure we were uplifting the households that need it most. If it's a kid that gets free or reduced lunch, the investment that the county is going to put into that account is 20 times more than for the kids that aren't on free and reduced lunch. And this is going to be one of those policies and programs that drives generational change. So we get your trade program going, and now kids are going to grow up with some money to actually just pay for it. And they wouldn't have had it before. But it also, these accounts are really effective because a kid that grows up with a savings account for college or trade school is several times more likely to go on to post-secondary education because they grew up with this mindset and they had things done in school where they were focused on talking about what's life look like after school. Where are you going to go to college? Where are you going to go to trade school? What are you going to do after all this? And people build up that mindset and then they go on to do that kind of work.
Yeah. Who's available for that savings program?
Kids that are in Washtenaw County Public Schools. So this coming school year, we're going to start, I have to double check what grades we're going to start. I think we're going to start with 3rd through 5th. And then eventually we're going to be able to start enrolling all kids that start in Washtenaw County Public Schools.
Okay. What kind of money are we talking about? What, is there any set number or whatever?
So for now, for the kids that don't get free or reduced lunch, the county is going to seed those accounts the $25 minimum that needs to be done for that. For the kids that get free or reduced lunch, the county is going to seed $500. My hope, and if I can continue with my position, is to be able to try to work with some of these big businesses like Toyota or Domino's to get them to throw some money into these accounts as well, particularly for the kids that are on free or reduced lunch.
Yeah, get some of the people to put the money where the people are.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? And if you're only investing in the infrastructure and not investing in the people, then the infrastructure will eventually fail because you haven't invested in the people.
Right.
And I'm getting a little pissed off, and I really am, been for a long time. And that's how the gentrification process, and this is how people are being displaced from out of their own communities, because our elected officials haven't invested in the people. And when you don't invest in the people don't have not only the resources, but they don't have the monies to not just purchase a home, but to even pay for rent for their homes, because you invested all the money into the development and not into the people. And now you can't afford to live there. And then somebody else who has already been pre-invested into another area comes in and gets the job that you haven't been prepared to do, because you haven't been made aware or have the knowledge that there is jobs out here available. There is so much more jobs out here available for our people in our community other than McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger Kings and Walmart. But we don't know about them. Our general public doesn't know about it because our damn elected officials don't have public forums and tell people what the hell is going on around here. It's a damn shame. Like I said, there's a huge Amazon plant out there. And I said about it again, right there on the outskirts of Ypsilanti, right? And why aren't we out there working on it? You know what I'm saying? Why aren't we aware? Why aren't we prepared for this stuff, you know?
And what I would like to see is more local governments enter into community benefits agreements with businesses that come in here.
Exactly.
So they're going to set up shop here. There should be a formal agreement that requires the business to invest in the community and hire people from the community.
Exactly. Okay. We're getting close, good brother. Okay. There's a lot of comments coming across the screen. You get what I'm saying? I
hope they're good. I don't know.
From what I've been seeing coming up here, 99% of them, 100% of them are all good. And a lot of them simply have questions that need to be answered. So I encourage you, if you will, after the show, that the comments are in there, respond to those people's questions. The questions that I can respond to is about the Supreme Felons Building Program. I'll share that on a separate time. But there's a lot of information, a lot of questions out there, a lot of suggestions and stuff like that.
Good to know.
But anyway, like I said, we're coming up on that time, and I started an hour late because I had a meeting from 10 to 11, and I didn't want to rush here, and I didn't want you to rush here and what have you. And I'm still sleepy anyway. I'm keep on saying that, you know. Simply because I am in, head gets a little foggy when you're older, when you've been up all night and everything, then get proper sleep. I'm starting to experience that right now. Okay. But like I said, we're coming up on that time, and we don't want to take up any more of your time on this Saturday afternoon. And we don't want to take up our viewers' time on a Saturday afternoon. But this is your moment to say whatever you want to say, however you want to say it. I'm going to get that to you. You get what I mean?
Okay.
I ain't got no guideline. This is my show. You can talk. I can talk. This is my show. I can say what the hell I want to say on my show, what I don't want to say and have on here, who I don't want to have in here, and who I do want to have on here. But however, this platform is open to anybody and everybody, even if I don't agree with what you're talking about, as long as you come in here and what your platform is about some common sense and not some nonsense. I don't entertain nonsense. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, I'll give you the last minutes, bro.
Yeah, well, I would say I hope that the work that I've done during my first term has, demonstrated to people that I'm in it for the right reasons and I've been doing good work. We talked about the receipts. I've talked about several of the things that I've done. Other things that people should be aware of, that the work that I've been on is with the health department. If you've been at any of the supply distribution or the vaccination clinics in my district, I'm usually there volunteering right alongside the health department and getting people resources, making sure that we got vaccinations to people in 48197, 48198 zip codes, because we knew those zip codes were the areas hardest hit. That has been my focus. Continuing to combat economic inequality. And I'll lead this into an upcoming community engagement series that we have coming up, that I'll be at some of those sessions too for people to talk about. But we are going to be allocating another round of American Rescue Plan dollars through our next rescue plan package. And we really want community input. We want a community input through this whole thing. And when I go through and respond to the comments, I'll post the information there too. But we're going to be doing a series of engagement sessions that are going to look a little bit different from some of the previous ones. So this one is really focused on economic opportunity. I talked a lot about the Financial Empowerment Center that I would like to see the county start before I got elected. And I think we're at the place now where we're going to move that forward. That will include things like free financial counseling to people for free. Anybody in the county that needs financial counseling. I'd like to see us be able to have a fund to help people pay back debts. So if you have a debt and you want to pay off $100, the county will match it. That's one of the things I'm hoping will be included in this. Down payment assistance to help people be able to purchase their own home. So I invite people to come and check out this upcoming listening session. It's going to be like stations around the room, so you can learn about all the different things that will be in the package, and then to give your feedback to county staff and any commissioners that show up. So this, especially with the drone conversation, I have a future focused vision for the county.
I like that George Jetson stuff.
Right. And if that's what people want, and that's the kind of leadership they want to have in the county, I'm going to ask people to vote for me on it before August 2nd. If you're in Ypsilanti Township or Augusta Township, absentee ballots are being sent out as soon as you request one, or you can vote in person on August 2nd. But we expect this is going to be a tough campaign for us. We expect it to be close, and it's really important who's your county commissioner and who's in any of your local government positions. So if anybody wants to learn more, visit me on votejustinhodge.com. My contact information is on there, so feel free to give me a call or text or email. I'm happy to have a conversation about any of this.
All right, thank you very much. That's 5th District Washtenaw County Commissioner Justin D. Hodge. Sitting in on Ear to the Ground 197. Ear to the Ground 197 is brought to you by Tracy Sweet Touch Productions, as well as Blackstone and Bookstore and Cultural Center, located on West Michigan Avenue in beautiful downtown Ypsilanti. So we encourage y'all to come out to the Johnny Lawrence Jazz Concert Series. We've been getting rained on.
Yeah,
we've been getting rained on, but we had a huge crowd last night, right? And people actually sat out in the rain through the whole thing. And it was so funny, I joked about it last night about somebody having a voodoo doll on us. but right when I said, you know what? Okay, let's take the stage. Literally, right when I said, let's take the stage, it started raining. And Johnny suggested for the interest of the people that they just play straight through the sets. Okay. Instead of having 2 sets, we just go straight through. So we actually ended the concert early. It rained through the entire concert. We ended the concert early, and guess what happened? Stop raining.
Oh
no! So yeah, it's really funny. So, but anyway, next week Johnny will be performing at his show, and I just let Johnny know all these 3 performance that we had that were in the rain.
Yeah,
these was actually dress rehearsals. That's
right.
what I said.
There
was no rain this time. And we just want to thank Ypsilanti Township, Brenda Stumple and her staff. The Ypsilanti Township Parks Commission have shown us nothing but love and have accommodated every needs. We want to thank you. So I'm encouraging y'all to come out next week. I know y'all been staying out from the rain, and I can understand it. I get that. You get what I'm saying? But next week, next Friday, it ain't gonna rain. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that. Okay. But anyway, you've been listening to Justin D. Hodge on Ear to the Ground 197. And as I say, as always, to all power to the people. Oh, man. So the mics are still on, but if you want to go, I'm gonna go. I'll just let it roll out, let my theme song play a little.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. So I'll catch up with you.
Sounds good. Yeah. Good to see you.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah.